This is Raw World, where tell the stories no one else will. Homelessness has quietly spread through Alpena, Michigan. Not in overcrowded shelters, but along back roads, inside parked cars, hidden tents, and on any street corner that offers a place to rest. Families, veterans, and seniors are trying to get by without a roof over their heads, often overlooked by the wider community. This documentary takes a closer look at the reality of homelessness in America's rural towns, shining a light on Alpena's deepening struggle. Through raw stories and local voices, we uncover a town still holding on to hope through hardship. Alpena, Michigan, a town of 10 others, 139 residents, nestled along the shores of Lake Huron in northeast Michigan. But behind the peaceful surface lies a growing crisis: homelessness. In 2022, Alpena County reported 302 individuals without stable housing, including 96 children and 42 seniors. By 2024, local estimates suggest this number has ballooned to nearly 700 annually, reflecting a 15% increase in just 2 years. This travel documentary aims to unravel the complexities of this issue, exploring its root causes, its profound impacts, and the community's tireless efforts to find solutions. Homelessness in Alpena is part of a broader trend sweeping rural Michigan. According to the Michigan Coalition Against Homelessness, rural homelessness across the state surged by 12% between 2020 and 2023, outpacing urban areas in percentage growth. In Alpena County, the crisis is particularly pronounced. The Sunrise Mission, Alpena's primary homeless shelter, served only 200 individuals in 2024, with 60% being first-time clients, a clear sign of the crisis's expansion. Unlike urban homelessness, which is often visible on crowded streets, Alpena's homeless population is less conspicuous, blending into the fabric of the community. Many reside in wooded areas, abandoned buildings or vehicles, making their struggles invisible to the casual observer. In 2023, the Alpena County Fairgrounds became a temporary refuge for at least 12 families who pitched tents to escape the elements. Others camp in remote areas like the Norway Ridge Pathway, facing harsh weather and limited access to resources. The lack of public transportation in Alpena County, with no bus or taxi services outside city limits, isolates these individuals, making it nearly impossible to reach shelters, jobs, or health care. In 2024, 40% of Alpena's homeless population was classified as doubled up, meaning they temporarily stayed with friends or family due to a lack of alternatives. This hidden nature of rural homelessness complicates efforts to address it, as many go uncounted in official statistics. The crisis also affects a diverse range of people. Families with children, seniors on fixed incomes, and even employed workers are among those struggling. In 2022, 239 students in northeast Michigan, including 114 from Alpena County, qualified for federal homeless services, highlighting the crisis's impact on youth. The Sunrise Mission reported a 25% increase in families seeking shelter in 2024, with many citing job loss or eviction as the cause. These numbers paint a sobering picture of a town grappling with a challenge that threatens its sense of community and stability. Alpena's homelessness crisis didn't appear overnight. It's the result of several deeply connected challenges. At the heart of it is the severe shortage of affordable housing. In 2023, the median home price in Alpena County hit $154,000, up 16% from just 2 years earlier. Yet median household income sits at just $40,603, far below Michigan's statewide average of $63,202. For a single parent working for minimum wage, $10. $33 an hour, a one-bedroom apartment at $750 a month eats up more than 60% of their income. That's double what housing experts recommend for affordability. By 2024, Alpena had only 85 rental units available for low-income households and waitlists for those stretched as long as 18 months. On top of this shortage, the local housing market has become more competitive. With tourism bringing in around $100 million annually, Alpena has attracted an influx of short-term rental investors and second home buyers. In 2023, 15% of all housing in the area was set aside for vacation use, cutting into the supply for year-round residents. Rents have surged, with the average two-bedroom now costing $900, up 20% since 2020. For many families, that price tag is simply out of reach, pushing them closer to becoming part of the growing number of homeless in America. Job scarcity makes things worse. Alpena's economy leans heavily on tourism and service jobs, 45% of which pay under $15 per hour. As of September 2024, unemployment in the county stood at 9% above the state average. And when tourist season ends, so do many of the jobs. Take the Alpena shipwreck tours, for example, a popular attraction that hires dozens of seasonal workers each year. But once the tourist season ends, many of those workers are left scrambling, unable to find steady employment through the long winter months. Manufacturing, once the cornerstone of Alpena's economy, has also faded. In the 1990s, it made up a quarter of local jobs. Today, it accounts for just 12%. Then there's the deeper systemic side of the crisis. Access to healthcare, especially mental health services, is severely limited in rural Michigan. Alpena County has just one mental health provider for every 200 residents, while urban areas average one per 600. A 2022 study by the Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency, NNEMCSA, revealed that 15% of Alpena's homeless population struggle with substance abuse, often tied to untreated mental health issues. With no local treatment centers, residents needing help must travel over 50 miles to reach facilities in Oscoda or Petoskey. But without a car or reliable transit, that journey becomes nearly impossible. Add to that, Alpena's brutal winter's temperatures can drop as low as 10 degrees, and snowfall regularly hits 80 inches a year. For those without shelter, it's not just uncomfortable, it's deadly. Public transit is almost non-existent, and the nearest shelters are 50 to 100 miles away. Sunrise Missions saw a 30% jump in emergency shelter requests during the winter of 2023. Many arrived with severe frostbite or hypothermia. These obstacles don't just stack up, they trap people. So let me ask you, what would you do if you had to choose between paying rent and feeding your kids? That's the daily reality for many in Alpena. When every option feels like a dead end, how do you break the cycle? In Alpena, Michigan, homelessness doesn't always look the way people expect. It's not just people panhandling downtown, it's families, veterans, the elderly, and even people working full-time jobs. A 2023 report from NEMSEC found that 28% of Alpena's homeless population are employed full-time, yet their wages fall short of covering basic housing costs. Many others include veterans coping with PTSD, single mothers choosing childcare over rent, and seniors trying to survive on fixed incomes as prices keep climbing. In 2022, 239 students across Northeast Michigan, 114 of them from Alpena County, qualified for federal homeless assistance, highlighting just how deeply children are affected by this crisis. But most of these individuals remain out of sight. Some rotate between friends or relatives' homes, staying just long enough to avoid the streets. Others sleep in cars tucked away behind businesses or parked at rest stops to stay under the radar. One case in 2021 involved a family of 4 who spent 6 months living in a sedan, while both parents worked full-time jobs, still unable to scrape together enough for a security deposit. Another story centered on a veteran who camped by the Thunder Bay River for 3 months, held back from VA benefits by a wall of red tape. These stories challenge stereotypes and show the wide range of people affected by homelessness in America's rural towns. Women, especially single mothers, make up 35% of Alpena's homeless population, many escaping abusive relationships or struggling to afford daycare. Seniors account for 20%, with Social Security checks averaging $1,200 a month, not nearly enough to cover rent and medical bills. And youth homelessness is rising, with 10% of Alpena's homeless under 18 often fleeing unstable homes with nowhere else to go. In the face of growing hardship, Alpena's community stands out for its deep compassion and tireless support. At the heart of this response is St. Bernard's Friendship Room, a local soup kitchen that dishes out high-quality home-cooked meals 6 days a week, no questions asked. In 2023 alone, volunteers served over 18,000 plates of food featuring comforting meals like herb-roasted chicken, stir-fried vegetables, and scratch-made desserts, operating on a modest $50,000 yearly budget, 70% of which comes straight from community donations. This kitchen thrives, thanks to the dedication of retirees and other volunteers who spend hours cooking, serving, and cleaning up, creating a place where everyone feels welcome. Another key player is the Sunrise Mission, led by Director Michelle Bailey, since January 2024. The shelter houses up to 40 people and focuses on long-term solutions, offering life skills, training, job placement assistance, and emotional support. Last year, the mission helped 45 individuals transition into permanent housing, a 20% jump from 2023. Its transitional program also allows residents to stay for up to 18 months while they regain their footing. Impressively, 60% of those enrolled in 2023 found stable employment. Organizations like the United Way and NEMSA round out the local response. United Way offers emergency rental assistance up to $500 per household, helping 150 families in 2023 and preventing eviction for 80% of them. Meanwhile, NEMSA connects residents to crucial federal and state programs and helped 120 households with winter utility bills in 2024. These collective efforts show that, even amid the broader crisis of homeless in America, Alpena hasn't lost its sense of community. Addressing homelessness in Alpena comes with serious challenges. One of the most pressing is the shortage of shelter space. The Sunrise Mission, Alpena's primary shelter, only has 40 beds, and operated at full capacity throughout 2024, turning away dozens of people every week. With nowhere else to go, many ended up camping at the Alpena County Fairgrounds, where at least 12 families stayed in tents during the summer. But when events like the annual Alpena County Fair arrive drawing around 30,000 visitors, those families are forced to leave. In August 2024 alone, 8 families were displaced without anywhere else to turn. There are deeper systemic issues too. Criminal records, even for minor or decades-old offenses, block many from finding housing. In 2023, about 30% of rental applications in Alpena were denied due to past convictions. One case in 2022 involved a woman with a stable job rejected by 3 apartment complexes over a 10-year-old misdemeanor. Nonprofits trying to fill the gaps are stretched thin. Sunrise Mission operated on just $250,000 in 2023, with 60% of that coming from private donations, leaving little room to expand services. Another major barrier is the lack of mental health and addiction resources. Alpena had only 2 licensed addiction counselors in 2024 to serve more than 28,000 people. The closest residential treatment center is in Gaylord, 75 miles away, a distance that's unreachable for most without reliable transportation. Without access to care, many fall deeper into the cycle of homelessness in America. Stigma adds another layer of difficulty. In tight-knit communities like Alpena, fear of judgment keeps some from asking for help. So the question remains, how can small towns like Alpena support tourism while keeping housing affordable for their residents? With $100 million coming in each year from attractions like the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary, rising home prices and short-term rentals are squeezing locals out. Can Alpena find a way to grow that benefits everyone, not just visitors? How can small towns like Alpena balance tourism growth with affordable housing for residents? Alpena's tourism industry, driven by attractions like the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary, generates $100 million annually, but also inflates housing costs. Second home buyers and short-term rentals reduce available units for locals, pushing rent beyond reach. What strategies could Alpena adopt to ensure economic growth benefits all residents, not just visitors? Alpena is meeting the challenge of homelessness head-on, using creative strategies and strong community partnerships to drive change. The Alpena Housing Commission oversees 195 low-income units, focusing support on the homeless, domestic violence, survivors, and seniors. In 2023, Michigan directed $120 million in federal funding toward rural housing initiatives. Alpena received $2.5 million of that total, earmarked for rental assistance and home ownership programs. Thanks to these efforts, 80 households secured stable housing in 2024, moving from homelessness toward long-term stability. Advocates are also championing expungement efforts to help residents with criminal records gain better access to jobs and housing. In 2024, NEMSI held 3 expungement clinics, assisting 60 individuals with clearing their records. A 2023 Michigan study found that expungement can boost employment opportunities by 30%, making these clinics a game changer for many struggling to move forward. At the same time, tiny home projects are gaining ground as a practical and affordable housing option. One proposed development would include 20 units each, about 400 square feet, with a projected cost of $2 million and a target completion date in 2027. These small homes are designed to provide permanent, low-cost housing for individuals or small families. Grassroots efforts are also making an impact. Habitat for Humanity built 3 affordable homes in Alpena in 2023. each sold to low-income families through zero-interest mortgages backed by a $150,000 grant. 5 more homes are scheduled for construction in 2025. Local churches like Grace Lutheran and First Congregational have stepped in as well, running winter warming centers that offered meals and warm clothing to 200 people in 2024. Together, these projects reflect Alpena's commitment to real, lasting solutions for the homeless in America. Statewide policies are critical to Alpena's efforts. Governor Gretchen Whitmer's 2024 budget expanded access to preschool and free community college, aiming to break poverty cycles that lead to homelessness. The Michigan State Housing Development Authority, MSHDA, coordinates with local agencies to provide grants and tax credits for affordable housing. In 2023, MSHDA identified Northeast Michigan as a high-need area, with 52% of households earning below 185% of the federal poverty line. MSHDA's 2024 plan includes $10 million for rural housing development, with Alpena slated to receive $500,000 for new units. NEMCSA's housing specialists work tirelessly to connect residents with resources, but advocates stress the need for more permanent supportive housing. Chronic homelessness, affecting 10% of Alpena's homeless population, requires long-term solutions like subsidized housing paired with mental health and job training services. In 2023, Michigan launched a pilot program for supportive housing in rural areas, with Alpena as a potential site for a 30-unit complex. The program, funded at $5 million, aims to serve 100 individuals by 2026. These policy efforts, combined with local advocacy, offer hope for sustainable change. Alpena's greatest asset is its people. Residents regularly donate blankets, clothing, food, and time to support those in need. A 2022 homelessness awareness sleepout organized by NEMCSA drew 150 participants, raising $10,000 for the Sunrise mission. Local businesses such as Thunder Bay Winery and Alpena Coffee Company contribute through food drives and fundraisers. In 2023, businesses donated 2,000 pounds of food to the mission during a holiday campaign, ensuring no one went hungry during winter. This documentary celebrates Alpena's spirit of generosity, where neighbors uplift neighbors. Volunteers at St. Bernard's Friendship Room, many of whom are retirees, dedicate hours each week to cooking and serving meals. A 2021 event showcased this compassion when resident Sue Fitzgerald donated handmade blankets to families living in cars, tearfully expressing her heartbreak over children in need. In 2024, a local high school organized a Pack the Pantry drive, collecting 500 non-perishable items for the Sunrise mission. These acts of kindness fuel Alpena's fight against homelessness, making it a model for other rural communities. What can you do to support the homeless in your own community? Homelessness is a shared challenge, whether in a small town like Alpena or a sprawling city. Volunteering at a shelter, donating supplies, or advocating for policy changes can create lasting impact. Take a moment to consider, what's one action you could take today to make a difference in your community? The homelessness crisis in Alpena is real, but so is the town's resolve to tackle it head on. Local leaders have laid out an ambitious plan to reduce homelessness by 25% by the year 2027, focusing on expanded housing options, stronger financial support, and deeper community collaboration. At the heart of this effort is a proposed 50-unit affordable housing development expected to open its doors in 2026. Backed by a $3 million state grant, the complex will do more than provide shelter. It will also offer on-site job training and childcare to help families regain long-term independence. Alpena is also working closely with Habitat for Humanity to boost access to home ownership. In 2025 alone, the partnership aims to complete 5 new homes for qualifying residents. Meanwhile, Sunrise Mission is scaling up using a $500,000 grant to add 10 emergency beds and launch a job training center by 2026. Efforts by NEMCSA to promote tiny home living and supportive housing models are also gaining ground. A pilot program launched in 2024 with $200,000 in seed funding plans to begin construction on its first units by 2025. Through these initiatives, Alpena is proving that small towns can be powerful leaders in the fight against rural homelessness. This travel documentary isn't just highlighting a challenge, it's sharing a story of resilience and actions. Alpena reminds us that when a community comes together with compassion and purpose, real change is possible, not just here, but for the broader issue of homelessness in America. Thanks for being with us on this emotional journey through Alpena, Michigan, in our latest travel documentary. Homelessness in America's small towns is a quiet emergency, one that deserves more attention and compassion. By telling Alpena's story, we hope to open eyes, start real conversations, and inspire change not just locally, but everywhere this struggle exists. If this film resonated with you, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to Rawworld for more travel documentaries that explore the stories that matter. Let's keep moving forward, learning, caring, and shining a light where it's needed most. See you on the road.